we're totally cool. So end result comes out, all of those different pretty large version sets you saw condensed down to these 4 possible versions, which are really 2 versions, 4.2.2 or 4.2.3. And if I remember correctly, this is actually an old version, so I'm going to harass somebody about that. But so yeah, it'll pop out best guess. This tool is both sort of command line and also it's a library. So if you don't care about fingerprinting stuff on your own from the command line, you can go build this fingerprinting into your technology, whatever you want to do with it. It does plugins too. Again, we're trying to do all data-driven, trying to take human judgment out of the loop, so that lets us say, hey, if you can get a whole directory full of plugin releases, sure, we'll chew through those and happily support plugins for you. I've got it set up for Drupal and WordPress plugins right now. If there's any other app that we currently support that you want to add plugins to, we can do that. And if there's brand new apps that support plugins, we can do that too. So you can say, hey, just like guessing an app, you can guess plugins and spit out a list of possible plugins, and then go fingerprint those. So we got a cool toy. I went and got a dump of all the .com domain names that existed on a particular day in June, and ran this on a sample of those. So a little low on time. I'm going to buzz through this pretty quick. These graphs are version distributions that I found of what apps are running out there. So found a few thousand Drupal apps and a few thousand Drupal installations. You got the most recent versions, the release candidates, the alphas, the betas at the very top, and really old archaic versions down at the bottom. And you can kind of see the trends. We got a few people running the really old stuff and kind of a nice bell curve within the last 3 to 8 releases. And that's pretty cool. Seems like people are staying reasonably up to date within 6 months or something like that. The question is that good enough? We know that all web apps out there have security problems and people do updates. So how do you guys think people are doing in terms of serious vulnerabilities? I've got a line on here that shows how up to date people are, or rather how many people fall below the line of if you're updated to here, you're safe from any serious vulnerabilities. Hands for 50% of these installs are affected. Less than 50%. Anybody think less than 50% of people are affected? More than 50%? Okay, we have some realists. More than 75%? About 70%. And this is just people who are running versions older than the latest published vulnerability. There could be configuration things going on that make them safe. There could be web app firewall rules. I'm just talking about specifically installed versions because we're looking at versions. That's the tool I have. How about Joomla? More than 50% affected? More than 75? More than 80? Okay, I'm leading the question. How about MediaWiki? You guys all use this internally. Everybody has a wiki on their intranet. More than 70%? Talking about 95% on that. You guys see these spikes here. Take note. These are hosting providers and package managers. So if you're relying on a hosting provider or a package manager to keep you up to date, who's not backporting patches, some of them are, many are not, then you are probably quite a ways behind. Moodle, it's an education system. Movable type, I'm going to buzz through some of these. PHPBB, they yelled at me, so I'm not going to pick on them. Here's the weird one. PHPMyAdmin, all over the place. You'd think that if your blog isn't high severity, you would, you say, okay, I can update that, whatever. But no, PHPMyAdmin is really important. If that's your database management solution, it's critical to you, so you don't update it. That's backwards. But think about that. The really critical stuff, once they get it working, nobody wants to mess with it. So PHPMyAdmin is there, 85%. I'm going to skip through. Here's WordPress. Okay. My shout out to WordPress. They have a really, really good install and update process that's really simple, and people have found that it works, so they update. All the rest of this stuff have really good information about what security, what vulnerabilities are out there, what kind of exploits. WordPress has none of that. The one thing that they have is hey, it's very easy to update. Users can rely on it to do the right thing and to get updated. And that's the thing that is helping their users stay up to date. It's convenience, not fear or not understanding of security. The only thing that people are caring about, if you've seen the rest of these slides, is this convenience of staying updated. So anyway, there's WordPress at 4%. Does that surprise anybody? WordPress we think of it as vulnerable, but so far it looks like from some of their practices, they're actually doing a better job than people generally give them credit for. I had to pick on them a bit. So if we look at medium vulnerabilities, not criticals, it takes them up to 21.5, but that's still looking really good. So precision, buzz through these. If you're using this in the field, you should see about 1, 2, maybe 3 versions I can pin it down to, with a couple of weird outliers at 12 and 23. Speed, should see results come back in 3 to 6 seconds. 95% of runs get done in about 10 seconds. So you can use this as an interactive or reasonably scalable tool if you want. Lots of sources of error, all sorts of things that could go wrong with this process, but so far it works pretty well. So if you want to gripe to me about why I'm doing it totally wrong, come on over and we'll talk and you can help me. So this is an open source tool. I think we've released it as LGPL. Blindelephant.sourceforge.net. I've already been, 2 people have told me about bugs and stuff that I omitted. So if you go to that code and it doesn't work, hit me up on Twitter and I'll help you fix it and get it right. Love to see what people can do with this stuff. To do lots of help that we need, and I think I'm about out of time. Thank you, everyone.